Hi everyone! Welcome again to another edition of Story Time with Robbie. Today I have got a few. I've got some summer themed books to read to you today. One story that I forgot to read to you when we did summer themed books back a few weeks ago, and or earlier in the summer I meant, and also a couple of new summer themed books that I just bought recently. So hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Alrighty, everybody. The first story I'm going to read today is The Sand Castle Contest by Robert Munsch. Here we go. Matthew's father stood in the driveway and said, "I think we are all ready to go. Let's make sure everything is here. Do we have the bicycles? Yes. Do we have the food? Yes. Do we have the boat? Yes. Do we have everything? No, yelled Matthew. No, said his dad. No, said Matthew. We don't have a dog. Dog, said his dad. We don't even own a dog. I know, said Matthew. Now would be a good time to get a dog. No dog, said his dad. Now, do we have everything? No, yelled Matthew. We don't have my sandbox. Matthew said his mom, we can't bring the sandbox, but the first place we camp will have a nice beach, and you will have lots of sand to play with. Well, said Matthew, okay. So they drove and drove and drove and drove and drove until they came to a place to camp. Matthew jumped out of the van and ran to the beach. He came to a girl making a small sandcastle and a big sand dog. She said, "Hi, my name is Kalita, and I'm going to win the sandcastle contest." "Wow," said Matthew. "I'm going to build a sandcastle too. What can I win?" "You can win a bathtub full of ice cream," said Kalita. "All right," said Matthew. So Matthew made a house with doors and windows and a roof. He dug out the inside so it had rooms just like a real house. He made sand tables and chairs and beds and a TV that had a sand show on it. When Matthew was almost done, Kalita came over to look at his house. She had her sand dog on a leash. "Nice sand house," said Kalita. "Really, really nice sand dog," said Matthew. A judge came by and said, "Get this house out of here. Who put this house on the beach?" "This is my sand house," said Matthew. "I made it for the sand contest." "Ha," said the judge. "I know a real house when I see one, and there are no real houses allowed on the beach." Then he went inside and sat in a sand chair and watched a sand show on TV. Another judge came by and said, "Get this house out of here. Who put this house on the beach?" "This is my sand house," said Matthew. "I made it for the sand contest." "Huh," said the judge. "I know a real house when I see one, and there are no real houses allowed on the beach." She went into the bedroom and looked at the sand bed. She went into the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, and looked at the sand apples and the sand celery and the sand cartons of milk. Then she said, "Little boy, you've got to get this house off the beach." "This is my sand house," said Matthew, "and I'm going to prove it." "Ha," said the judges. So Matthew went outside and kicked the sand house right beside the door. It all turned back into an enormous pile of sand and fell on the judges. "Help!" yelled the judges, and everyone came running and dug them out. When the judges were finally out from under the sand, they yelled, "Matthew wins! His sand house was so good that we thought it was a real house." "Matthew wins!" everyone yelled, and they gave him a bathtub full of ice cream. Matthew started eating the ice cream, and he said to Kalida, "Want to help me eat this?" "Yes," said Kalida. While they were eating the ice cream, Matthew said, "How come you didn't tell everybody that your dog is sand? I bet you would have won with a sand dog." "Well," said Kalida, "this is my Sandy, my sand dog, and I am going to take him camping and feed him ice cream every day, and he's going to be my pet, and I'm never going to turn him back to sand." "Wow," said Matthew, "I wish I had thought of that. Can you show me how to make one?" "No problem," said Kalida. And Matthew's mom and dad were so happy with Matthew's amazing sand dog that they decided to take it camping. The end. Alrighty, everybody. The second story I'm going to read today, or the second summer-themed book I'm going to read today is Don't Worry, Little Crab by Chris Haughton. Let's get started. Here we go. Little crab and very big crab live in a teeny tide pool. Today they're off to the ocean. This is going to be so great, says Little Crab. They go tick-a-tack, tick-a-tick, tick-a-tick over the rocks. Splish, splash, splish, splash across the pools. And squelch, and squelch, squelch through the slimy, slippery seaweed. I can't go anywhere, says Little Crab. Finally, they get to the very edge. Here we are, says Very Big Crab. The ocean. Oh, says Little Crab. Maybe it's better if we don't go in the ocean, says Little Crab. Don't worry, says Very Big Crab. It will be okay. But the waves are getting bigger. Look, a huge wave. Hold tight. Here it comes. Whoosh! I think we've had enough of the ocean now, says Little Crab. Let's just go. Let's just go a little bit farther, says Very Big Crab. I think you'll like it. But the waves keep getting bigger and bigger. Another one. Hold tight. Here it comes. Whoosh! I don't think I like the ocean, says Little Crab. Maybe we should go home. Don't worry, Little Crab, says Very Big Crab. I'm here. Come. Just a few more steps. Little Crab takes a step, then another, until I'm in the ocean, says Little Crab. But then they see an enormous wave. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Ready? asks Very Big Crab. Little Crab nods. They take a deep breath. Here it comes. Whoosh! Down, down they go. Look, Little Crab. Everyone comes to say hello. My name is Little Crab, says Little Crab. They eat delicious seaweed. They run all across the sea floor, and they have a giant game of hide and seek. I love the ocean, says Little Crab. Yes, but it's time to go home now, says Very Big Crab. What? I really don't want to go home, says Little Crab. Well, how about we go the long way home, says Very Big Crab. Can we go up this way, asks Little Crab. I think you can go anywhere, says Very Big Crab, and off they went. The end. Alrighty, everybody. The third story the third summer themed book I'm going to read today is What the Ladybird Heard at the Seaside by Julia Donaldson. Here we go. One July, when the sun was high, the ladybird took to the clear blue sky. She spread her wings in the summer breeze and flew over farms and fields and trees. She flew and she flew as fast as could be, till at last she came to the deep salt sea. And the sea lion roared and the seagull shrieked. The mermaid sang and the dolphin squeaked. The crab went snap and the shark went ganache. The whale's great tail made a mighty splash. The dogfish barked and the catfish purred. But the ladybird said never a word. But the ladybird saw and the ladybird heard. She saw two men in a camper van with swimming trunks and a cunning plan. They were Hefty Hugh and Lanky Len, up to their wicked ways again. Said Lanky Len to Hefty Hugh, I tell you what we're going to do. We'll lie in Wait till it's 12 o'clock, then out we'll swim to the mermaid's rock. The mermaid's hair is very long. She combs it while she sings her song. But when it's night and she's fast asleep, then tiptoe onto her rock and we'll creep and snip, snip, snip. We'll cut that hair so very long and very fair. Said Hefty Hugh to Lanky Len. We'll make a lovely wig and then we'll sell it to a famous star. What brilliant, brainy blokes we are. The mermaid's hair will soon grow back enough to fill another sack. We'll keep on doing it forever. We've hit on something really clever. The little spotty ladybird, who hardly ever spoke a word, told the animals what she heard. Then the sea lion roared and the seagull shrieked. The mermaid wailed and the dolphin squeaked. The crab went snap and the shark went ganache. The whale's gray tail made a mighty splash, and the fish declared, that wicked pair, we can't let them steal the mermaid's hair. But the ladybird had a good idea. She whispered it into every ear. Then the seagull gave a joyful shriek, and he fetched some seaweed into his beak, and as the sky was turning red, he dropped it on to the sea lion's head. Then, as the sky was turning black, the sea lion climbed on the whale's humped back. The clock struck 12, and the two bad men, Hefty Hugh and Lanky Len, flip-flapped down to salty sea. It was cold and dark, but they laughed with glee. Then the whale began to sing a song. That's her, said Hugh. We can't go wrong. They swam towards the tuneful sound. She's still awake, said Len, and frowned. The singing stopped. They took a peep, said Hugh. I think she's gone to sleep. Up they climbed with their big brown sack onto the whale's enormous back, and snip, 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 they started snipping. This hair, said Hugh, is damp and dripping. What's more, said Len, it's awfully tough. Our scissors can't be sharp enough. Then help, cried Hugh. This rock is heaving. I think we better both be leaving. But Len replied, just one more snip. Then the whale's gray tail gave a great big flip. The thieves fell into the water. Splosh! And Hugh said, golly! And Len said, gosh! Then ouch! Cried Hugh. And Len yelled, no! As the shark bit a flipper and the crab pinched a toe. They swam for their lives, and then they ran all the way back to their camper van. Phew, said Hugh. We had a scare, but at least we got the mermaid's hair. They opened up the sack, and then it's full of seaweed, shouted Len. And tricked again, said the two bad men. Then the sea lion roared and the seagull shrieked. The mermaid sang and the dolphin squeaked. The crab went snap and the shark went ganache. The whale's gray tail made a mighty splash. The dogfish barked and the catfish purred. But the ladybird said never a word. The end. Alrighty, everybody. Really hope you enjoyed the summer themed books today. Thank you so much again for joining me and for watching. It's always a pleasure being with you and reading with you. Please comment on the video as always and let me know what you think of the picks. I always like to hear your feedback and let me know what your favorite book was that I read today. Have a really great rest of your day, and I will see you here on the next edition of Storytime with Robbie. I will see you then. Toodaloo.